you want to flip phones, but you don't want to get scammed. Personally, I've been flipping phones for about a year, and over the course of my phone flipping career, I've been scammed out of a little over $500. But in this video, we're going to go over how I got scammed, how much I got scammed for, and how you can avoid the mistakes that I made so that you don't have to get scammed to be profitable. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So the very first time I got scammed, it was for an iPhone 12. It was supposed to be paid off and unlocked for any carrier, and I was paying $170 for it. Now, the guy that I was buying from had pretty good ratings on Marketplace, so I didn't really think too much to check the phone and make sure everything was good to go upon purchase. Now, if you watched any of my other videos, especially my phone flipping story, around this time when I'm just starting to flip phones, I'm driving all over the state of North Carolina just to get what I can get. This iPhone 12 was 45 minutes away, so I drove down there to meet the customer at his local Walmart. Now, when I get there, he gives me the phone, I give him the cash. I didn't do any sort of check whatsoever. It was a very literal, hey, how are you doing? Give him cash, I get phone. We both got back in our cars and drove off. Now, I was hungry, so I pulled into a local Zaxby's and decided to check everything on the phone while I was there. I didn't even really know how to check a phone, so I'm YouTubing a bunch of different things trying to figure out how I can inspect this phone properly and make sure everything's good to go before I list it back on Marketplace. So after fully inspecting the iPhone 12 and running the IMEI, I find out that it is blacklisted. Blacklisted meaning that it can't be used by any carrier in the US. At the time, I don't have a private buyer, so I know this is a drastic loss that I was going to take. Tried to reach out to the customer and get my money back, but they had already blocked me on Facebook Marketplace. So that ended up being the very first time that I really got scammed for a phone. Since I didn't have any wholesale buyers to sell to, I listed it back on Marketplace as Wi-Fi only and for parts. So I bought the phone for $170. I resold it on Marketplace for $50. Making it a 45-minute drive to lose $120 in profit. A terrible ROI for what would be the beginning of my phone flipping journey, but there are a couple things to learn from this transaction. The first one is that you need to inspect the phone properly. It doesn't matter how good the ratings are or how likely this person is to be trusted, you need to make sure that everything's good to go on your end. Check the camera, speakers, flashlight, battery, IMEI, make sure everything is good to go and you're getting exactly what you paid for. The second is that having a wholesale buyer is an advantage. While the iPhone 12 is US blacklisted, it was showing no SIM restrictions, meaning that it is unlocked for any carrier. That phone would have been good to go overseas, and I could have resold it to a wholesale buyer for profit if I had one, but I didn't. And since I didn't have a wholesale buyer and didn't know what I was doing, I ended up selling it back on Marketplace for a loss. So make sure you draw those two lessons from the story I just told you, so let's get right into the next one. The next time I got scammed was for an iPhone 13 Pro Max. The guy had listed it for $350, and at the time it was a pretty good deal. The 16 Pro Max hadn't came out yet, and those were still selling healthily for around like $500 to $550. This one was about 50 minutes away. I meet the customer at his local McDonald's to get the phone. Upon arrival, the phone is dead, so I can't inspect anything on it. I try to get the customer to give me some time to charge the phone in my car so that I can inspect everything and make sure everything is good to go, but he was saying he was in a rush to go pick up his daughter and needed a real quick transaction. Me not being confident in this scenario, I basically got punked and gave him the money for the phone, even though I didn't get a chance to inspect everything properly. He reassured me that I would be able to contact him if any issues with the phone came up. He told me we could connect on Facebook if anything went wrong. I took the phone and he drove off. So I get in my car, start charging the phone, and when the phone finally comes on, I find out that it's iCloud locked, meaning that it is still locked to the owner and the only use for this phone is to be broken down for parts. I tried to reach out to him, almost begging for him to remove his iCloud, but he had already blocked me on Facebook Marketplace. This one really hurt because at the time I was working with like $600 to $700 in capital, so this one like took a pretty big chunk of my money. Like I couldn't really afford this loss, but that's exactly what I ended up doing. So I listed it on Marketplace for $100, and I actually had one of my local repair shops reach out to me to buy it. Now this isn't a local repair shop that I ended up working with in the future. They actually just kind of lowballed me and got a really good deal. So when I took the phone to the repair shop, I actually found out that the phone had a grade D screen replacement. Basically a very cheap replacement screen where you can see that the screen is lifting. It's not very good touch screen. Like you can just tell that it's very poor quality. And because of that, they negotiated the price all the way down to $70 for a phone that I paid $350 for. So I drove 50 minutes to that McDonald's, bought the phone for $350 and sold it for $70 to a local repair shop, giving me a $280 profit loss. Biggest lesson to take from this one, never trust a customer in your life. If a customer pulls up on you and the phone is dead and they won't let you charge the phone in any way, shape, or form, don't buy it. It's obviously a scam. This is just me in the beginner stage of my phone flipping career, just being naive, thinking that people are gonna be good business when they're not. Like, people will try to get over on you. It's up to you to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, another thing I wanna emphasize to you guys is the leverage you don't have when you're buying and selling on Marketplace. And that's the exact position that I was in, and you almost feel desperate and like you need to buy the phone, especially when it's more than like a 40-minute drive. So when you go down there, you don't really want to walk away from the deal. Who wants to drive 40, 50 minutes for no phone? But the door is wide open for that to happen to you when you're only sourcing your phones on Marketplace. You almost feel a little bit uneasy about negotiating downs on phones, even when something's wrong, because the person really doesn't have to sell you the phone to begin with, and you've came all this way, you want to get the phone. That is exactly why I advise that you run paid marketing for your business and don't just source phones on Marketplace. Sourcing phones on Marketplace should be casual. If you're already running a deal about like Swoopa, Flipify, or Marketplace Monitor, you should only be buying phones on Marketplace when that deal bot gives you a notification that, yo, there's a really cheap phone in your area and you should go get this. You should be sourcing on Facebook Marketplace when it's convenient. That shouldn't be your only business. That is why I heavily advise that you get into paid marketing so you have more leverage when you're negotiating. More often than not, the people that are trying to sell their phone need quick cash now, and a whole bunch of other things that I'll explain in future videos and a couple videos that I already have up. But all in all, from this 13 Pro Max story, you should take this. Never trust the customer and get into paid marketing for your business so you have leverage if something is wrong with the phone. You have no leverage when you're only sourcing on Marketplace because they don't have to sell to you. So without further ado, let's get into the next story. So this next time I got scammed was for an iPhone 15. It was supposed to be unlocked for any carrier and in good condition, and this one was actually local. It was only like a 10-minute drive. So this time I'm running a pretty thorough functionality inspection, like the camera, flashlight, IMEI, all these different things. And the phone looks good. Only thing I didn't check was the condition, which was so stupid, but I didn't check the condition. The seller gave me the phone with the case on it, and I inspected everything functionality-wise, so I just assumed that the phone was going to be in good shape when I took the case off. Gave him the money, took the phone home, took the case off, and I find out that the back glass is completely shattered. In a fit of rage, messaged the customer to try and get my money back. I'm already blocked on Marketplace. You guys can kind of tell that there's a consistent trend of getting blocked on Marketplace once you get scammed. But I knew I was going to lose some money on this deal. I was super sick. I paid $400 for it. And I was so upset that I actually ended up relisting it on Facebook Marketplace for $400. Now, the crazy part about this deal is that my first wholesale buyer that I actually work with to this day reached out to me attempting to buy this 15. We had negotiated on the price a little bit, but he had agreed to $350 if I brought it to his shop. And he ended up being my very first repair buyer. So that's kind of God's work in a very odd way. I really look at this guy kind of like an older brother, and I ended up meeting him through getting scammed for that iPhone 15. So I got the phone for $400, resold it to my repair buyer for $350, giving me a $50 profit loss for that sale. And this lesson is basically the same as the first two, like check the phone and don't trust the customer. You should be checking everything and never giving any customer the benefit of the doubt. Check the condition first, check the functionality second, check the IMEI third. Always do those three, and you will definitely avoid getting scammed how I got scammed. So without further ado, let's get into the last one. So the last phone that I got scammed for was an iPhone 13 Pro that also happened in my local area. It was supposed to be unlocked for any carrier. I met them at my local gas station, and I was trying to go through the whole inspection process, but for some reason my hotspot literally wasn't working. It took like 15-20 minutes and the phone wouldn't load up at all. So kind of feeling bad that I'm wasting the customer's time, both of us are growing a little bit impatient, I just decided to kind of take the phone and pray that everything was going to be all right on the phone. It was a girl that was my age, and she gave me her number to basically reach out to her if anything was wrong with the phone. So I get home, connect to Wi-Fi, start to inspect the phone, and I actually find out that this phone isn't unlocked for any carrier and it's blacklisted. So I reach out to the girl, letting her know that it's blacklisted, that it's carrier locked, and all these different things. I'm already blocked on iMessage. This is just another one of those cases where being naive gets you bit in the butt. So I paid $300 for this phone, and I didn't know what to do, so I took it to my repair buyer. He was really looking out for me on carrier lock stock, getting me connected with a bunch of individuals who purchased that stuff. And I remember bringing him the phone, and I was like, bro, you can't bail me out of this one. It's blacklisted, it's carrier lock, and I paid $300. Like, I'm gonna take a loss here, and it's gonna be a fat one. But that's when I stepped into the world of wholesale buyers deduct very little, if they deduct any, for blacklisted stock. I thought I was gonna have to end up selling it for like 80 or 100 bucks for parts, but I ended up selling it to an overseas buyer for $220, and I had bought it for $300, so that gives me an $80 profit loss for that flip. Now that was actually the very last time that I got scammed. Since then, I've either broken even or profited on all the phones that I bought, and I think it's just a necessary learning curve for phone flipping. Like, you're gonna fall in your face a couple times, lose some money. It's just kind of like you're growing up. Now I'm giving you this video and my mistakes so you don't have to grow up as much as I did and lose $500 just to get remotely good. But if there's anything you should take from this entire video, is do not trust the customer and check everything for yourself. If the phone is dead on arrival, don't buy it. If the customer wants the money before they hand you the phone, don't buy it. When you get the phone, check the condition, functionality, IMEI. Make sure everything's in line and you're getting exactly what you're paying for. And lastly, this is just kind of a side note, but you want to have leverage when you're going into these phone deals. All the times that I got scammed, I was literally only sourcing phones on Marketplace, and you're in a position where you kind of feel desperate if you don't buy the phone because you're driving so far to get it in the first place. Now, me personally, to fix that problem, I got into paid marketing, where people are now reaching out to me and I'm offering them a service of quick cash that they can either accept or decline. I have a couple videos already posted about it, and I'm gonna upload more in the near future, but that's basically the leverage that you wanna have, where you're not driving too far, and in the event that something is wrong with the phone, you're fully prepared to walk away and it's not hurting your ego or your pocket. Now, if you guys do want one-on-one help scaling your phone flipping business from me and my business partner, you can just click the first link in the description. It's gonna take you through a couple of videos, and there'll be a link where you can book a call, and we'll see if you're a good fit for the program, because we're always ready to help you guys start and scale. So I appreciate you guys making it to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys can take my mistakes, go out in the world and not get scammed for as much money as I did. But please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if this helped you at all. And hopefully you guys are out there buying phones with a little bit more knowledge than I had. So with all that being said, it's been Ace, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.